Greetings, Goddess Body, Mind, Spirit community. This is your Goddess Guru, Tyra Omilade, here to share a word of inspiration with you on your path to self-realization and self-mastery. Today is December 20th, and we are now officially in Saturn in Capricorn, and we are in the the solstice energy. Good morning. Hi. I didn't even think anyone was going to chime in right now because typically I'm on earlier, but we're in the midst of this solstice energy, and I'm telling you all, I am so contemplative. You know, the energy of Saturn it's the same energy as Sekart, and Sekart represents deep, protracted thinking. It represents the ability to ponder, and you ponder so deeply that that solution presents itself, or like you just develop an understanding. And I had been trying to figure out, what is my connection to Saturn? Now, I mean, seriously, Sekart has spoken in a major reading for me, but Saturn or Capricorn is my third house, my natural third house. And so my mind can be very Saturnian and deep, deep thinking. And so I am just really feeling like I'm connected to the galactic center personally, as well as just getting wisdom for you all. So what I want to share in this is what is in this broadcast is what came to me this morning. I do plan on doing more for the new year, the calendar year. I have come to accept I live in the West, and so I will go with this, new year thing of the calendar year. But it's just so beautiful that it corresponds with the solstice too. It's all right there together. And, there are some hard and fast times that we want to honor, but typically there's a continuum. There's like this space of time that we work within. So my plan is to actually put together something, as I always do, for calendar year 2018. But right now, something that came to me, first of all, I'll talk about the Egun, which that is the ancestors. And I will also talk about just this new time that we're in, that I'm sure you all are feeling. So starting out with the Egun, I was sitting listening to Leo King this morning. Now, Leo King is really evolving in his own personal evolutionary process, and just the way he shares astrology is a big picture. I am putting together, I mentioned this in the last broadcast, a class that will help people learn how to divine using the Metu Netter. Let me know if you're interested in that, because it would be nice for me to know who's ready once I get this all together. And it'll be a few months. But anyway, yes. So I was listening to him talk, and one of the things I was talking about in or that I have said I will teach that helps people in their divination is history. So if you have not read the Metu Netter, or if you have read the Metu Netter, you'll know that. But if you haven't read the Metu Netter, let me just let you know, Ra'un Nefer Amen, the one who writes this or who wrote it, is very much into history. So, it's like even before you get to start talking about what are the significations in the Oracle deck, you're going to learn history. He gives so much history. And at the Great Mother Celebration this past September, there was the, he's a king, and he has to do with the Orser Asset Society somewhere in New York. I don't know exactly where, but maybe he is like the premier one in New York. I don't know. Anyway, he spoke at our Great Mother celebration, and I found it interesting that a lot of what he did was give history. And I am beginning to realize the importance of understanding history in order to really understand how to divine. History and divination, history and the wisdom from on high, they are intimately connected. And I was listening to Leo King talk this morning. And as I've listened to him, multiple times, and I'm sort of new to listening to Leo King actually, but I really like the way he gives this big picture and he can tie it all into history. A lot of times he's going to mention the Knights of the Templar, the Crusades, a lot of history that has to do with Europe. And it made me start thinking today, yeah, that's part of my lineage. I'm being straight up. You look at me and you can tell I'm Afro, baby. Proud of it. But I do know that I have one white ancestor definitively. I know this for sure. Most of us know we're mixed up some kind of way. But we may not know all of our ancestors, Those of us who are of African descent in the United States, we have some sordid histories. So, we don't all the time know where this whiteness comes from, but we know we have it. But I know for a fact there is one white ancestor back there for me. So I might have something to do with this historical, the Crusades, the Knights of the Templar. I don't even know what country this ancestor came from, okay? So I know that. I know, though, that the majority of my lineage is Afro. It's my mind, it's how I look, it's my inclination. And so what came to me this morning as I thought about that, and I respect it. I don't care where anyone's ancestors come from. We all need to study history. We all need to know where we come from. But what came to my mind was the importance of working with our ancestors, because our ancestors are the portal to understanding the history as applied to the wisdom, the divination. And so the energy, and I'm sure there'll be more. I haven't even gone to the oracle. I've been doing this, posting these videos since 2011. Maybe there was a year when there was the ancestors. I don't know. I don't remember ever. But I remember thinking this morning, just reminding myself, you know what? For those of us in the West, especially those of us in the United States of America, those of us of African descent, those of us who identify with our African lineage, the Orisha of our culture is the Egun. When you hear people talk about how they do Orisha spirituality in, let's say, Nigeria, that's what I know best. Each community had one Orisha. They weren't given, they weren't working with all the Orisha in terms of shrines and different things like that. It was one Orisha, all right? That was the primary, maybe for a family, maybe for a clan. I don't know exactly how it goes. They did, the way, if you initiated here and you've been given, 4 warriors, you've been given your Eshu, your Ogun, your Ochozi, your Osun. You've been given all the warriors. That's West, okay? That's what we do here. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we needed all the help we could get once we got over here. We needed all the help we could get. But it's also the birth of the new Ifa Orisha tradition. It was not meant to stay in a bubble and stay just one way. It was meant to grow and evolve. And I be doggone, it has done that. And so in Cuba, I think they're really into Oshun. Down in Brazil, they're really into Yemonja. It's like an inclination. In the United States, I know it is the Egun, okay? Anybody watching the Goddess Body Mind Spirit broadcast, this is for you. The time is now for us to work with our ancestors. This is the time, because the ancestors become the portal in helping us to understand, because the way things are lining up, Puerto Rico, Anyone out there know Santeria, the Orisha that's big in Santeria in Puerto Rico? I do not know. I've never heard. If there's just one. So the ancestors become, if someone chimes in and lets me know, Nia, I'll let you know. So the Egun, Oba in Puerto Rico, Divine Keys. Are you saying Oba in Puerto Rico? So the Egun, really and truly, okay, we need to work with our ancestors. And I typically say work with the ancestors because the ancestors are our guardian angels. They can help us so much. In this particular sense, there is an added way that we're looking at these ancestors. They are literally portals. They are gateways. Because the way the astrology is lining up, we are sort of like, and this will take me into point two, looking at this new time. We are at a point where it's sort of like we're repeating a time that happened before us. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, let me put this on hold. Ali Fonseca, where are you from? I can't remember where you're from. We're trying to find out if there is a main Orisha for Puerto Rico. I'm with you, Divine Keys. I don't know. San Diego. Okay, got you. Anyone out there know Santeria, Puerto Rico? Is there like a main Orisha? I'm so Nia, this you're seeing the real me. Once I get the Scorpio me, once I get obsessed, I'm like, I've got to figure this out. If we don't figure it out today, I will be on this for you because now I'm so freaking curious. Anyway, let me go back to what I was saying. The Orisha become the portal for us to understand this old time that we're in. The problem that I'm having, that's why the ancestors are saying, look, you need to work with us, is because so much of history, it does not all the time tell the story. And if they tell the story of the African American, the Afro-Latin, it's a lot of us Afros out there. It's not always the full story. Maybe the full story is there, but we haven't accessed it yet. There's a part of me that's wondering, we are awakening, but I don't want us to be behind the curveball. You know what I mean? Because the wrong history has been highlighted for some of us. All right. I believe in studying all of the history. I think it's all important because so much of what did happen back then and in these European countries have defined what's going on today. But like I put in the title of this, it's time for us to write our own story. We've been writing our own story all along, but we have to write it from a new place. First of all, we have to go back and look at where were our ancestors. And I don't remember where I was thinking about this, but I was thinking to myself, the ancestors back in the day, well, I did mention this the other day, were the most brilliant inventors. These people had a connection. And actually, when I look at a lot of people, like before we got so comfortable, people making just divine connections. I'm talking about here in the United States, making these connections to create these things. It was so much innovation going on. And actually the time period that we're up against, it's sort of around that time. It's sort of around that time. The Great Depression, it wasn't the last, things aren't lined up exactly like they were at the Great Depression, but we're sort of back at that spot. And then there's a little ways back. But when we start going back, let's say I keep hearing like 1284. I might be giving the wrong date. I don't know. But I know it's like back then the 1200s. What the heck were my ancestors doing? They weren't enslaved. All right. What the heck were they doing? Because this is what the ancestors say. You have to pick up the legacy and carry it. Well, if we're not studying our ancestors' legacy from around the Great Depression time to back in the 1200s, we're not studying what they were doing. I don't care. For me, I'm just focused on Afro right now because that's my calling. I'm owning it. It's my calling. Somebody's got to raise up Africa. All right. Africa has given birth to the whole world. We got to raise up Africa. All right. Whatever your ancestors are, though, raise them up. Raise them up. So we've got to figure out, and you pick what you want, which culture, what draws you, what calls your spirit. What were they doing? Because in order for me to know what I'm picking up and carrying forward, I've got to go back and look at what was happening. Because the key is for us, those Afros here in the United States, those Afros here in the West in particular, we have got to make sure that we pick up the legacy where it's supposed to be picked up. And so, there's this thing called the quickening. Sometimes we hate the quickening. When we're working with Oya, and I said that that's the energy that we were working with during this winter solstice and even during the winter. Oya will quicken you. Oya will bump, thump, she'll tumble you around. She'll shake you because she wants to accelerate you to where you need to be. Because we are going into, and I really believe that, you know what, Ali? And I love your last name because my neighbors across the street are Fonsecas also. The beauty is you can do it now. And I love my Mexican family because it's so, and folks in Mexico will just like eat me up when I say this. I got into this really bad, a long thread where people from Mexico reject the fact that there are Afro ancestors down there. And then there's those indigenous ancestors. But, they say there's a black grandma in the closet down there. It's a really, and then of course it's the Spanish energy. So yeah, we really, that Mexican culture is beautiful. But you can go on ahead and do that research now. Ali, I hope I'm saying your name right. Okay, so mi gente. This, and I believe Leo King, that there was something that happened in, okay, I love your name, Olympia. That is so pretty. That's a good name, dang. We are headed, you are most welcome. We are headed into a new time. 2012. I don't know if y'all remember, they were talking about the 2012. I even think people thought the world was going to end in 2012 or something. I don't know. I even remember thinking, what the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? I knew it was a big deal, but I guess, being caught up in the material world and everything is just, sometimes we don't always pick it up. I will say 2012 was sort of like the beginning of a lost period for me. I was just sort of caught up in building my fitness classes and everything. But I remember 2012 being very transformational because I decided I'm not working in the gym anymore. I'm going to be my own business. I'm going to own my own fitness business. And I branched out, and Lord have mercy, I haven't gone back, but it was hard. I remember 2015 being hard. And he was saying that 2017 is like a culmination of things that have happened in 2012, 2015. If 2012 and 2015 have been hard, and even in between, there was a reason. It's not you. But some man had made some predictions about 2012. Then there's been this period from 2012 to 2017. And so now where we're headed is uncharted territory. And I say to you all, we are not going to let anybody write our scripts. It's time out for that. All right? It is time for us to review. We're still in Mercury retrograde. What the hell kind of script do we have? And it is time for us to draw lines through the part of the script we're getting rid of. This is in the collective consciousness, whatever those collective consciousness that you belong to. There is the great human consciousness, and then there's all the subcategories. I don't know yours. I'll give you examples of mine. Black woman. I'm about to just start erasing whatever I think a black woman is, and I'm going to write in what this black woman is. All right? No more, I'm going according to somebody else's script. That's what they're telling me to tell y'all. Erase and write in what is your script. The ancestors should be coming in and informing you of some things you need to know about what lies ahead. They are saying to me, y'all stop being behind, stop falling behind, don't operate from behind. It's time out for that. Everything is new. Everyone gets to be whoever and whatever they want to be. It's how it really is anyway. The reset has happened, and so it's time to live awake and conscious about where we're headed. And the beauty of studying history, learning from your ancestors, is first of all, they speak to the greatness that we are. The dark deceased ancestors that we have in our lineage, we bless them. This is what you say to them. In your morning prayers, you say, if there any dark deceased hanging around me, I send you on your way with light and love toward your healing. You cannot be around me and my family. Leave. All right? Now, I extend that thing out to all my family because I don't want them around none of my nieces and nephews. So not just me, my husband, my children, but my brothers and their children and wives, all that kind of good stuff. My daddy. Even my young cousins. I try to do work for everybody. Let me tell y'all something. If you ever at the very least, initiate to be the priest or the priestess of your family. All right? My godparents told me not everybody's going to initiate and do readings and have godchildren and, clients that they're working with, whatever. Some people will only initiate because they are going to be the priest and priestess of their family. And yes, I do readings for people. You see, I'm on YouTube. I have great plans for other work that I want to do in terms of helping people who I've never met before, who I'll eventually meet, who I'm going to meet and I don't share blood with. But this year, and y'all have heard me talk about this, I have really moved into this place where I'm the priestess for my family. Half of them don't even know I'm a priestess. Because they wouldn't understand. I don't have time to be explaining all that. Doesn't matter. I'm doing the work for them anyway. We got all the Christian people in my family doing their work. I'm going to do the work of Africa spirituality for my people. I'm going to do the work of the goddess spirituality for my people. And actually, some of them know I'm different and they utilize my services to the hilt, and it makes my day. But the ancestors show us. So you talk to, dispel these dark energies, right? And so that makes way for the ancestors of light. So we want to pour libations. This is why we pour libations. It creates that energetic connection to our ancestors. This is me, all right? And y'all are watching me because we might be a lot alike. The people that don't like me, guess what? They won't watch me. So I think you're like me. Here we go. You pour libations in your own way. I do like going back, reaching back, getting the real tradition, following what they say. You can look at, what's this book? Handbook of Religious, Ifa Religious, wait a minute. Handbook of Yoruba Religious Concepts, I think is what it is, by Ifa Karaday. He's my my grand godfather. He initiated my godfather. And there's a way to pour libations. If you have this old book by Iyanla Van Zant, Tapping the Power Within, she has libations. You pour libations to your ancestors however you want to, really, though. Just pour those libations. Call on the ancestors of light. All right? You honor your ancestors. On your mama's side, your daddy's side, you set up that altar. And you begin to talk to your ancestors, okay? And your ancestors will drop books. They will give you dreams. Like I dreamt about my great-grandmother, they called her Big Mama, Selena was her name. I dreamt about her house one time. It let me know my great-grandmama is with me. They will come to us in our dreams. They will reveal to us so many things. Maybe you find the old book of, like, you know, some old person wrote a book or picture album or something. I don't know. But you want to connect with your ancestors. The ancestors are the portal that we're looking to work with. They are the gateway to the higher wisdom, and they provide the support as we go into this new time. They don't want us to be behind. They just keep saying that. They are so tired of us being behind. They are tired. I remember I went through this, I was at a Unity church at one point, and I went through, what's this thing called? Keys to the Kingdom. I felt so out of place at times because I was like, man, I'm getting something different from the rest of these people. I didn't even want to share it, but this is what my ancestors taught me. They said, look, these are the African ones. Don't y'all sit around here and act like we were poor and pitiful. We were not. We incarnated knowing what we were incarnating to. And we didn't do all of that for y'all to be sitting around here acting like victims. We transcended, and you will do the same. All right? And so our ancestors want us to stand up tall. And I know everybody has different ancestors. I know that a lot of y'all that are watching me, though, have these African ancestors. And the indigenous ancestors of the world, for my sister who has family from Mexico, those indigenous ancestors, they need somebody speaking up for them too, because they have been oppressed. They look down. I have a friend from Peru, and her people, she's from the indigenous culture, the Inca, and they are looked at as like poor and pitiful. I think their spirits are keeping that country, you know, from completely going into collapse. So we have to let the ancestors be the portal. We pour the libations. We make the connection. And the ancestors will show us the way. And let me tell y'all something. We're going to need them. I think the times that lie ahead of us, we actually are living at a time that is not unlike when, you know, the ancestors who started leaving their countries, traveling around the world, which was not just the Europeans, you know, it was all of them. They were all leaving their respective countries and traveling around the world, landing in different spots, finding different places, whatever they were doing. We're at that point. We literally are in uncharted territory. And so this is the time for us to be the great adventurers and to be led by the ancestors like the ancient Egyptians were, the ancient people of Kemet who built the pyramids that we see to this day, who embalmed the bodies that we can go and look at today. This blows my mind. Woo, I'm getting emotional. And, you know, we think about our celestial ancestors. Who is that group out of Africa that connects with the ancestors. The name leaves my mind. I ought to be ashamed of myself. And when I think about the indigenous cultures, the Dogon, that's it, the Dogon tribe. Y'all, we are selling ourselves short, living according to what this world says. This is all you can have right here. You little person, this is all you can have. And our ancestors are yelling and screaming to us. We want more for you. But the way you're going to get more is you've got to listen to the wisdom of the ancestors. And that requires you taking the path less taken, less traveled, less trodden. That requires when you step onto this path, and I so understand my godfather now, Baba Akolioso. He always says, when you step onto this path, you're going to be different. It is a path like no other. I'm not going to do what the rest of the world says we need to do. I will be led, guided, directed by my ancestors, and I encourage you to do the same. So, Egun are the Orisha for 2018. I am sure I will get some other, maybe not, I don't know. I have to consult the oracle and see what else. But we give thanks to Shango Haru, and we give thanks to Herakahuti Ogun for lighting the fire underneath us, getting the flame going, clearing the path that is leading us into this new uncharted territory. And let me tell you the last thing I'll say, giving all honor to the Native American ancestors of this land on which I live. I honor the Native American ancestors of the USA. They say we do today, thinking about 7 generations ahead. What we do today, we are laying the foundation. I may not see the ultimate that I have in my vision for this world, for this land, for my people. I may not get to see it, but I will do everything I can to do my part to lay that foundation so that the 7 generations ahead of me, they will say, thank you, Tyra Omilade. Thank you for doing your part. We will now pick it up and we will keep moving. We can evolve and grow and be more of who and what we are, because you and all of those back then, no matter the culture, but y'all did what you were supposed to do when the time called you to do it. And how do we do that? Is by equipping ourselves with that confidence and that courage of Heru Shango, and that confidence, that courage, that fire, that sword of Ogun. So we take this energy of Heru Ogun into 2018, and it is imbued and infused with the energy of the ancestors. And so we will not be afraid. But what does Shango say? Even when you are afraid, what does Kurt say? You do it anyway. You know why? Because you have the vision. So come up with the vision for your life. You write it. Do everything you can to purge yourself of the lie. Do everything you can to purge yourself of the lie. And as you do, you rewrite truth up in that piece. And you allow the fire of Shango Haru, Ogun Herakahuti, to be the rocket fuel that allows you to bloom and blossom and to do whatever it is that you came here to do without apologies. And may you do it all spiraled up with the great Mother Goddess energy, who's going to love us no matter what we do. And that's why we can continue to move, shake, do whatever it is we need to do. Where you don't feel love, baby, just know you are love. You come from love, the love of the great Mother. This is Tyra Omilade. Wait a minute, before I close out. Thank you, Divine Keys. Oh my gosh, I love y'all. I'm ready to call on my ancestors. I feel so ready. I never felt something so strong in my heart, this calling, and I'm on the right path. Just know it. I have to go now. Love you, lady. Love you too, my Ali. I love you, Miss Olympia. Ashe. Okay, Divine Keys. Dream of great grandfather. What a blessing. Hello, VICI. Nieces and nephews, because my niece is okay. So your niece is part Puerto Rican? Is that what you're saying? Nia? Oh, right. Divine Key says, at times I feel alone, but I know I'm not alone. They are with us every second of the day. They sit and wonder, why do they not call on us more? Why are they not talking to us? I love this, Divine Keys. She said, I was told I'm the needle pulling the thread. I'm the only one on this journey. I love that. Oh my gosh. I am the needle pulling the thread. Woo! Morning, Queen Trina B and Trinia. It's interesting. Nia mentions that she needs to work with her grandfather. I think that is so interesting. The grandfather energy is with us. Okay. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you all for joining me on this live stream. These ancestors got me so emotional because they never give up on us. They love us so much. They love us so much that they are our angels. And even when we don't call on them, they are working to help us. How many of us have seen someone dying and you know they're talking to an ancestor? They might say that ancestor's name, you know. The other thing about the ancestors is they love us so much. In Ifa, you can use cowrie shells to consult the ancestors and they will give you guidance on your life. I'm just so grateful. They left messages for us on those walls. This Ifa tradition is so powerful that those of us who come from the people who were ripped from Ifa, some kept it down, you know, in Latin America. Some of us completely forgot it, only for the ancestors to say, I'm shaking you to wake you up. Woo! We bow down to the ancestors. Child's father, sister's. Oh, okay. Got you. Oh, got you. Nice, Nubian Queen. I'm glad you got a message. Yes, call on those ancestors. Call on those ancestors. So, Egun, E-G-U-N, if you don't know how to spell it, that's what we call the ancestors in Ifa. Sheps is the name for the ancestors of light in the Metuneta Oracle. That's what was given to me. You know, I haven't been to Egypt, so I go with what Raun Nefer Amen gave me. So Sheps is what they're called in that particular oracle system. S-H-E-P-S. Those are the ancestors of light. The dark ancestral energies, they're called dark deceased. And the main thing we want to do is, let me just give y'all one last thing about these dark deceased. Like the dark deceased, they only bother me when I'm not aware. And so then when they're hanging around me, because they feed off of us, they're stuck. They're not all the way over, but they're not over here. And they will hang around us so that we can send them light to get them unstuck. You know, they're ancestors who literally, there's an uncle of mine who was stuck. I would see him in my dreams fighting my husband. It was creepy. But it wasn't even until after I started practicing African traditional spirituality for me to even know what to do. And finally, I was able to just keep sending him light and love. Told him he couldn't hang out with me. Send you light and love on your way, you know, send you light and love, and I send you on your way. So what would happen though, I always began to know when I had dark disease hanging around me, because my thoughts became super stinky. Just negative, 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 or poor, pitiful me, and just too much negativity up here. Because the dark disease hang out with us, and they highlight for us the areas where we potentially are headed, or what in that area that might have us headed to being a dark disease. If I had stayed stuck in my negative stinking thinking, I wouldn't be doing any of what I'm doing. You know, I would probably be a gossip and just complaining about everything else, about everybody. Thank you, Nia. Yes, please be sure to like the video. Thank you so much. So the dark disease sort of do us a favor. If they're hanging out with us, we do them a favor by sending them light and love. And when we are aware, it's not necessarily they're having a negative effect, but you know, that ancestor might pop into your mind. You're like, okay, I send you light and love, ancestor, but dark disease ancestor, but you can't hang around here. But I do send you light and love, because they know we are awake and we are aware. We will actually do that. But when we're not super awake and aware, and we're sort of like in that area of negativity, we're doing things that we know this is taking us backwards instead of forwards, then that's when they will begin to highlight, and they really show up. It's like everything gets amped up, or you might find yourself like trying to come out of it, but then you like go right back into that negative way. The ancestors are the dark disease ancestors are, you know, they're coming around you to get light and love. There's a part of me that feels like they actually feed off of that negative part of ourselves. And even like these Egun, things like worry and depression, although I do know that some depression literally is physiological. It's not cut and dry. But for me, depression, that's an Egun, okay? It's a way to keep me stuck. And they feed off of us. Here lately, I've been sort of like tuning in, realizing, wait a minute. I think that I have an Egun that feeds off of me looking at social media or looking at too much news. Because I'm like, why do I feel this urge? When I'm saying I'm backing up from social media, I'll feel this thing like, I've got to look. Oh, I must look. And then I get off so ticked off, you know. I've looked at something and I'm frustrated. You know, you can't unsee this stuff on social media. And so, you know, when you feel that, like sugar, that's another Egun for me. Those Egun had me eating so much sugar, and that's how they would feed off of me. You know, one of these books that I've mentioned to y'all, the man mentioned how this man had an addiction, but it really wasn't him. It was a spirit attached to him, and this spirit was driving his addiction. And so we have to really think about those things that keep us stuck in our stumble. Yeah, the ancestors will want us to give them light and love, but to a certain degree, because we're stumbling in the same areas that they did, they get a fix off of it. So it's like this big convoluted thing that we've got to get this thing sorted out. And this is why we have to have our daily spiritual practices. I think somebody said spending money. That's a good one. Woo, Nia. That is a very good one, spending money. And the thing that the hard part about that, in my opinion, is we live in a culture that has a big Egun that's like, spend money. You will only be happy if you spend money. What would happen if we say, I'm not spending any money today? What would happen? When we're feeling that push, because you know, whatever we buy, it never is enough. I've been there, done that. I get that. So that's the Egun piece, the dark disease piece. That's right. But we give thanks for knowing this. And y'all, as I log on, tell me, what are you learning about your ancestors, be it your personal ancestors or the world ancestors? Let me just ask everybody really quickly. You're right, the flesh is never satisfied. That's why we have to subjugate the flesh to the spirit. We ask our Ori to come to the forefront in everything we do, be led, guided, and directed. We submit the flesh to the Ori. That's what I tell myself in my prayers. Is there an ancestor of the world, is what I call them. And I don't care ethnicity, nationality, none of that matters to me, because we all need to just connect with who we need to connect with. But I'm going to tell y'all one of my favorite, outside of my bloodline, the world ancestor that I adore, Harriet Tubman. She inspires me. When folks see me on the political field, I have to let them know I got the spirit of Harriet Tubman in me, all right? Pardon my fire, but if you try to turn back, I'll kill you. So you need to keep going forward, all right? We're not going back in this thing. And they're like, oh, what is going on? I got a spirit that's about freedom and liberation, and it's called Harriet Tubman. Anybody else out there? Oh, I like Sojourner Truth, too. That's my other girl. I love my Sojourner Truth. Anyone have an ancestor of the world that they really connect with, that they want to tell me about right now? If you're watching this in rebroadcast, go on ahead and put those in the comments. Ancestors of the world who you claim as your people. I would love to know that. They also become our guides. They're helping all of us because they belong to the world. Love you all. Please like the video. Thank you, Nia. Please share the video with other people who you think can use this. For me, this is one of the most important videos that I have made ever. This is one of the most important videos that I've ever made. I appreciate you all for watching. And I'm going to do everything I can to get just whatever it is the Spirit is showing me that would help people. I'm going to do my best to get that to you all, okay? And if I can divine on your behalf, please let me know. I would love to divine on your behalf. GoddessBodyMindSpirit.com is where you can go learn more about the readings that I do. You can go and look at my old work that I have done. Okay, so my two sisters who said you're not sure, if you figure it out anytime soon, I would love to see who you connect with. We have to remember history and divination, history and wisdom, spiritual wisdom, they are interconnected, and they're together. They're one and the same. And so, these ancestors of the world who look like historical figures, they actually are spiritual guides too. Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Nia said, that was from Divine Keys. Nia said, Nelson Mandela, that's another amazing ancestor. I like it when I find those, and that's why I said, one of the things I am going to do is to do more reading. I read about history and all that kind of good stuff. I just don't commit it to, I love Michael Jackson. I'm with you, Nubian Queen. I'm not going to lie. That man was magical. He was not perfect, and there is no requirement that says they must be perfect. We don't take the baby and throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's something I'm learning to do. Like when I think about Bikram yoga, I don't know nothing really about Bikram yoga, but I do know it is a thing. It's a big thing. People love it. It gets people doing yoga. And do we take all of what he gave to the world and throw it out because, of his sexual transgressions against the people who were following him? I guess some people can, but I'm not like that, I probably would feel that way if I was one of his victims. But it is what it is. Bikram yoga is a thing. Even if it's just called hot yoga right now, it's a thing. And it's doing what it needs to do. So Michael Jackson, you can ask people in my classes. I tell folks I try to channel Michael Jackson when I dance because I was a Michael Jackson fanatic when I was a teenager. Nelson Mandela has my heart. I love Nelson Mandela. He's a new ancestor, Maya Angelou. She's a new ancestor, but you know, they now belong to the world. I guess for me, another male ancestor would be MLK, but I want to start going back and looking at more. Oh, wait a minute. Khalid Muhammad. Tell me, Divine Keys. I don't know if I know a lot about Dr. Khalid Muhammad. But when I look at some of these African warriors carrying machetes, all these African women, they're like, you're not going to come up in my village and do all of this. And they're slicing and dicing, and you get a group of mad women with swords, you're going to back down. See, that's what we got to do. We got to study the ancestors of old, because they got the subtle energies and the tech tools and the technologies, and they didn't take no bullshit. They didn't take it. So, and they had awesome communities with social strata that developed the inner spirit. I don't know where this abusive way of living, you know, y'all know I love children. We must have a social strata that raises our children up, not forces them into a box. You know, they had these wonderful social structures, communities taking care of the children. This is what we are rewriting for ourselves right now. This is what we're rewriting for ourselves. Y'all, we got to look up Dr. Khalid Muhammad, okay? Khalid Muhammad with a U, to see what he did. The name sounds familiar, but it just doesn't ring a bell. So love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of the winter solstice. And, you know, let's keep doing the work and checking in with each other, okay? I also need to make sure I post my Patreon link. I've been meaning to share this with you all maybe for 6 months now. But I have a place on Patreon. I just need to make sure I get this listed on my videos, because we can have more offline discussions in Patreon, okay? Anywho, love y'all. Have a wonderful day. Blessings of the goddess in all her various faces be with you and upon you. Ashe, ashe, asheo. Peace.